Look, of course, we have our Storm Track 8 weather impact alert for tomorrow. And once again, this is going to be the biggest snowstorm we've seen so far this season, which I still cannot believe. So keep in mind some of the winter driving tips that we have. Increase your following distance. Drive on a plowed lane if you can. More importantly, too, steer and brake smoothly, especially when approaching those intersections, those ramps and bridges. And give our friends, our snowplows, room to work when it comes to getting to your destination. We follow those rules, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. Right now, all dry, cloudy, cold too, a little chilly with that wind, 26 degrees at the Quad City International Airport, where I believe it hit 27. I have to check that out, but no matter how you look at it, it's pretty cold. A lot of 20s that we see across the board, 21 in Dubuque, 24 in DeWitt, and about 28 degrees over in Galesburg. We've been getting a nice wind coming out of the northeast, making those wind chills even colder. Plenty of teens, even around the single digits that we're noticing around Dubuque. There's that winter storm, and as it makes its way eastward, it's going to grab that moisture and kind of run over all that cold air that's already in place. Perfect ingredients for some snowfall to take place across a lot of our hometowns. Let's give you a timeline here if we can, and you can see that everything's still on track starting around 6 a.m. I think morning commuting, I think it's going to be okay. Maybe a little slipping and sliding and maybe in some of those untreated neighborhood streets, but I think overall the main roads I think are going to be fine. That'll be a different story later in the day tomorrow, and then the coverage really begins to drop just about the time we get to about midnight. But there's the breakdown, and I see as far as how much snow we're anticipating during each of these particular hours, where we're looking at numbers probably averaging right around 5 inches. So about a good inch lower than what we were forecasting yesterday. And here's the reason why I've come with that conclusion here is the snow probabilities that we have. This is for 2 inches or more snow. And with that color, 95%. So you're guaranteed 2 inches. Now, as we get to 4 inches or more, the probability is still pretty high, kind of in that 80 to 90% that we're seeing, about 80%, I would say. So we're pretty much guaranteeing almost 4 inches of snow in many of our hometowns. But here's where we see the drop. This is for 6 inches or more, and it's kind of 50-50, especially from the Quad Cities and points southward. And as far as it getting any higher, well, you're just dropping off the map here. We're already at 5% or 10%. So we're kind of looking at a range, I would say, right around 4 to 6 inches, I would say. Taking a look at all our computer forecast models that we have for snowfall, this is kind of what we see. If we average it all out, what do you know? We're looking at about 5 inches of some dry, fluffy snow. And it goes very well to our winter storm warning that we have throughout our entire viewing area for the possibility in that range of 4 to 6 inches. Some isolated areas could be a little bit higher than that, just a little bit. But this is going to be a dry, fluffy snow. So with that wind, you're talking about some of the blowing and drifting that may be taking place, and that is going to reduce some of that visibility. And it's going to stay pretty cold too. In fact, we're looking at temperatures overnight to be dropping around the teens, maybe some lower 20s to our south. Come tomorrow, temperatures very much like today will only make their way in most of our hometowns in the 20s. Factor in some of that wind, and it's going to feel a whole lot colder. By the time we get to tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., when we start seeing the flakes begin to fly, and you can see wind chills for most of us will be in the teens, single digits to our north. By the time we get to Wednesday afternoon, not much of a change. Plenty of teens that we see even during that period. And then as the system pulls away, here comes some even colder air because of that snow-covered ground, that fresh snow-covered ground. And look at the wind chills we're looking at by Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Whew, that's getting cold. And yeah, it's going to stay that way in our forecast, certainly in the days ahead. We even have one more weather impact alert to show you, and we'll take a look at that with the help of your 8 and 14-day tracker right after this.
When I started having all these health problems, I was getting harder and harder to do anything and keep a job. I tried doing the claim at first by myself. Yeah, with Mike helping me, it was truly like a friend helping a friend. It was so much easier. Judge, he kept asking me questions and I kept answering them the best I could. The judge starts talking all this, to me, big words, and I didn't know what he was saying. And I looked at Mike and he said, "We won." It was probably one of the happier days of my life.
Here's your 8-day tracker, weather impact alert for Wednesday, but also another weather impact alert for Saturday, especially starting Friday night into Saturday, where we could be talking about some more accumulating snow. Maybe not as much as what we're looking at come tomorrow, but enough to make traveling a little bit of a challenge once again. Look at those numbers, looking pretty cold too, going into the rest of the weekend and early next week. Maybe some more light snow later on Monday that we see, but then after that, looks pretty quiet, dry as we try to rebound those temperatures by the time we get to that following weekend.
All right. Thanks, James.
You bet.